Google and Nvidia have joined the fight to stop Microsoft from purchasing Activision Blizzard. Let's discuss what their complaints are and why this could put a thorn in Microsoft's immediate plans. This is being reported by Bloomberg, and if we hop on over to Bloomberg right now, we can see that Google and Nvidia expressed concerns to FTC about Microsoft's Activision deal. Now, if you haven't been following along, I have a whole playlist about all the videos I make about this topic. You can check that out. But the long and the short of it is that the FTC is suing Microsoft to stop the deal. And now more people are coming out of the woodwork, basically, to say, hey, we also don't want this deal to go through. The fact that Google and Nvidia are jumping on aren't the best for Microsoft. Alphabet Inc.'s Google and Nvidia Corp have expressed concerns to the Federal Trade Commission about Microsoft Corp's acquisition of Activision Blizzard Inc., adding fuel to the government's case against the $69 billion deal, according to people familiar with the matter. Now, there was a preliminary hearing where they kind of went over scheduling, and I've actually been meaning to make a video about that. But if we hop on over and just take a look at what we can expect over the next few weeks, let me just bring it up here really quick. The United States of America Federal Trade Commission Office of Administrative Law Judges posted the following on the FTC's official website. It's basically the scheduling order, and you can see some important dates coming up. January 17th, which is just a few days away, the Complaint Counsel provides preliminary witness list, not including experts, which will include no more than 35 persons, including no more than 10 non-party witnesses, with a brief summary of proposed testimony. The Respondents Counsel provides preliminary witness list on January 24th, which will include no more than the same 35 people, 10 non-party witnesses. On February 24th, the Complaint Counsel provides their expert witness list, and I have to imagine they're stocking up on those right now. And March 3rd, 2023 is the deadline for issuing document requests and interrogatories and subpoenas, except for discovery directed to witnesses who did not appear on either side's preliminary list and discovery for purposes of authenticity and admissibility of exhibits. I don't read legal documents. I'm apologizing right now for butchering this. Respondent counsels provides expert witness lists, complaint counsel and respondents to provide updated fact witness lists, which will include no more than 30 persons total with no more than 5 witnesses, no more than 3 non-party witnesses who did not appear on that side's preliminary list. And then it sort of goes on and on. That's for another video. But long and the short of it, we're now hearing from Google and Nvidia, who are expressing their concerns to the FTC. And I have to imagine this is going to continue getting more and more interesting as the days go by. Basically, the commission has argued that the deal would hinder competition in the video game industry and has scheduled an in-house trial for August. That's when the FTC trial will be happening. Either company could be called to testify as part of the FTC trial. And that's why I was going over the documentations that we just looked at to give you an idea of the timeline when those people will be subpoenaed and be expected to testify, as I assume this would be on the expert list. Google and Nvidia provided information that backs a key FTC contention that Microsoft would gain an unfair advantage in the market for cloud, subscription, and mobile gaming, according to the people who asked not to be identified because the process is confidential. In its remarks to the FTC, Nvidia stressed the need for equal and open access to game titles, but didn't directly oppose the acquisition, according to one of the people. So at least for Nvidia's sake, they're just saying, hey, look, like, we don't want you locking away World of Warcraft, for example, because that's a PC title that people are going to want to stream with our services to their laptops and such. By the way, if you're still watching this video and this is the type of thing that you're interested in, please consider hitting that subscribe button, hitting that bell. I post pretty regularly. I cover a lot of Xbox stuff, and you would really, really help me hit that 100,000 subscriber mark. Half of you aren't subscribed. If you all subscribe today, I would hit that goal, and we are so close. We already broke 90, and we're nearing in on 100, so be one of the first 100K to subscribe. Thank you for watching. Nvidia and Google are both major forces in the industry, Nvidia leads the market for graphics cards prized by gamers and operates a streaming service called GeForce Now. And that's the thing that they're concerned about. They want to make sure that they have content for their GeForce Now service to offer to their customers. Google competes with Microsoft in cloud computing services and offered an unsuccessful game service called Stadia that is shutting down this month. Now, just a real quick aside on that, because I want to bring it up here quick, and I'm going to make sure that my audio properties are correct before I play this file, but you might remember not that long ago that the Google Stadia CEO came on stage and basically did the following song and dance when it was announced.
Good morning, everyone. It's great to be here. Thank you all for joining us. I suppose I should start out with a confession. I'm actually not a big gamer.
So that is the person that is like deciding if Stadia lives or dies, and Stadia is now gone. So I'm not super surprised it went that route, and there were some issues with Stadia, but I like the technology. I think it had a chance. They just kind of like launched it and then just left it to die after that. It was very, very strange. There's a whole video. You could watch that video where I talk about what happened with Stadia a while back. But anyway, Google's Android mobile operating system also is central to how millions of people play video games. Of course, Microsoft responded saying, "We are prepared to address and have been proactively addressing issues raised by regulators or competitors to ensure that the deal closes with confidence." Microsoft spokesman David Cuddy said, "We want people to have more access to games, not less." Microsoft has been consistent with that statement, but the fact that you have a company like Google and Nvidia expressing concern, it's going to do a lot of good for the FTC case, which until this point has looked really flimsy. Now that they're actually needing to beef up in terms of their arguments, they are actually going to the heavy hitters. I find it hard to believe that anybody's going to feel bad for Google, though. Google's also, I have to imagine they're $1 trillion company. We know Microsoft's $1 trillion company, but like, I think the Stadia issues are more on Stadia than they are on Microsoft for having Game Pass. Anyway, I feel like that's another topic also. Nvidia also isn't opposed to the deal. They just want to make sure that they still have access to games. Microsoft's already offered a 10-year deal to Steam. I can't imagine there being any issue with them offering some sort of concessions to Nvidia. But what might trip them up is that Nvidia might be more keen to other games that are not Call of Duty. And I think that's something that Microsoft may not be wanting to be. How do I say this? That's something that Microsoft might be less inclined to do, as opposed to allow them to have Call of Duty, one of the bigger games. Still, the feedback adds heft to the argument that Microsoft could tie more exclusive content to its Xbox Game Pass service, which already leads the market for gaming subscriptions. In addition to publicly decrying the transaction, Sony has said in filings with Brazilian and UK regulators that the deal will harm competition and give Microsoft an insurmountable edge in the nascent cloud gaming industry. Chile just published their findings, and basically what they said was they had no concern with Microsoft buying Activision because it just wasn't a market that they're worried about, but they didn't really take the cloud gaming industry into consideration. I feel like the FTC is the first area where they're really honing in on that one, and that's the one where Microsoft may have a little bit of a problem. But the cloud gaming industry is in its infancy, so the idea that like they're going to block people out of it, I think that's going to be a tough argument to make at the end of the day. Microsoft has said that Sony's concerns are self-serving and overstate the importance of Activision's catalog, which Activision's catalog is pretty important, let's be honest. It offered Sony a 10-year deal, which also included PlayStation Plus. Google Stadia spotlighted the challenges of competing in cloud gaming. It was launched in 2019 with original content, and the company hired hundreds of game developers to work on the project, but Stadia never caught on with gamers, and Google announced plans in September to close the platform. But if you think back to that, Google started scraping away team members from that thing. They stopped offering support very shortly after launch. Xbox hired Kim Swift, who helped launch Google Stadia. Like, that whole thing was a mess. And for them to put that on Xbox or Microsoft, I think is a little ridiculous. I think it's Google's own mismanagement caused Stadia to fail. They had everything they needed to make that platform a success, and they just took money away from it. Politico reported in November, prior to the FTC's lawsuit, that Google had concerns about the Activision deal. That was, I believe they were talking to the CMA or the EU about the deal also. Last August, Nvidia said it had 20 million subscribers. More recently, the company said it's able to support more than 1,400 titles, way more than PlayStation Plus or Xbox, allowing consumers to use basic devices such as Chromebooks and handhelds to play the most demanding games. That's impressive. But Microsoft's Xbox Game Pass, which includes cloud gaming and its Ultimate package, remains the leading service with more than 25 million subscribers. In part, that's because Microsoft's dozens of game studios provide a direct channel of content. Activision is expected to make the subscription service even more compelling. Time's going to tell on that one. And honestly, Sony has come out and publicly said that they're not actually worried about Game Pass. So it's a little hypocritical for all this hubbub about it, when behind closed doors, the rumor is that I talked about not that long ago that Sony doesn't actually care. So anyway, that's the latest on it. We got Google and Nvidia jumping into the fray with the Microsoft Activision Blizzard story. Well, I have you. Thank you so much for watching, first of all. I'm trying to hit 100,000 subscribers. I know half of you aren't subscribed. If you're still watching, please consider hitting that subscribe button, hitting that bell. I appreciate you watching this far or just enjoying the video. Memberships are also turned on, and a big thank you to all the members for supporting my channel and allowing me to do this. If you want to become a member, I post all these videos ad-free, and you click that join button, get that right now. So if you want to see what was reported about Jim Ryan not caring about Game Pass and almost laughing it off, you can check that out here. Don't forget to check out the subscribe if you haven't yet. I'll see you for the next one. Bye for now, everybody.